I'm Meredith and welcome to my channel, The Meal Planning Mama. Today I'm going to be sharing Garten's Italian wedding soup. I did make some substitutions, but I will link the recipe down below so you could see exactly what she uses. It's a little over a pound of ground chicken. And breadcrumbs. Now, the meatballs did call for fresh garlic and fresh parsley, but I'm going to actually be using Italian seasoning instead. My family doesn't like the fresh parsley or garlic in the meatballs. So then you're going to need Parmesan cheese, 3 tablespoons of milk, salt and pepper to taste, a little olive oil for pan frying, sauteing the vegetables. And for vegetables, you're going to need diced carrots, onions, celery, and I did use fresh garlic and parsley in the soup. I doubled what the recipe says for the fresh vegetables. Whenever I could get some extra veggies in the kids, I try to sneak it in. And then the recipe calls for 10 cups of broth. I had about 4, and then I used some better than bouillon to make broth. And then you'll need a small pasta. I'm using orzo today. And you will need spinach. And I do top it with fresh lemon. So you're going to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then we're going to start on the meatballs. So I have about 2/3 a cup of breadcrumbs. I did have a little bit more than a pound of meat, so I wound up using more breadcrumbs, and then I added some Italian seasoning in place of the parsley and garlic. And then you need about 1/4 a cup of Parmesan cheese, 3 tablespoons of milk, and then I just cracked the egg in the bowl and added that in as well. And then a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. My Italian seasoning did have salt in it, so I didn't want to add too much, but just a little bit. Then we're going to go ahead and combine the meatball mixture. I kind of just like fold it in together. You don't want to over mix it because then the meatballs will be too tough. So just make sure everything's incorporated, the egg and the milk's all mixed in. And then you're going to want to go ahead and check if it's too wet, too dry. Mine was a little bit too wet, so I went ahead and added a little bit more breadcrumbs. You can say I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. And then we're going to go ahead and roll the meatballs. These are a little bit smaller than your typical meatballs. I'd say they're definitely less than like an inch. So go ahead and roll them out. I got about 40 meatballs from this mix. And make sure that the pan you're putting the meatballs on is sprayed with oil or rubbed down with oil because the meatballs will stick. There's not a lot of fat in the chicken. Searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down. The sky is falling down. Then go ahead and put the meatballs in for about 30 minutes. And while the meatballs are browning, I'm going to go ahead and saute the vegetables in a little bit of olive oil. And then go ahead and add the carrots, onions, celery, parsley, and garlic to the olive oil in the pan. I'm trying to actually get it in the pan. There was a lot of vegetables. And the recipe says to just saute them for about 5 to 6 minutes. Since I did double the vegetables, I went ahead and did this for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then add in your chicken broth. I had about 3 to 4 cups of chicken broth from the freezer. And then I added in another 3 to 4 cups of water and a nice tablespoon of the Better Than bouillon.
Won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if will ever figure out where the road goes.
And then I added about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep.
And then when the meatballs were done, I went ahead and added them to the soup as well.
You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
And then I added the frozen spinach in. I was able to get most of this bag in. There was just a little bit left in the bottom. My pot was like overflowing, so just as much as you can. And then I just simmered the soup for another 10 to 15 minutes. And when we're planning to have soup for a couple days, I make the pasta on the side so it doesn't like absorb all of the broth, and we can add as much pasta as we like. And then we topped it with fresh parsley and some lemon. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Bye!
You can say I lost my mind, I will keep